Well, good day. This is the destruction of America, and I'm Justin, here to fill you in on some information. On this episode, we are going to discuss the two-party system in our country and how that two-party system is destroying America. First, if we look at it, the two-party system is obviously Republicans and Democrats. There are other various political parties. There's independents, Green Party, Libertarians, and so on and so forth. There's probably a dozen total political parties. But the majority of those parties can't get enough backing to actually be a substantial political party. Hence why we are stuck with Republicans and Democrats. Roughly 170, 180 years ago is when this two-party political system really came to fruition. Democrats came from other political parties in the past, in the mid-1800s, and unified under one party. They called it Democrats, as they were promoting democracy. Out of that, we came to a point in time where we were headed towards civil war. And if we look at the history, we know the Republican Party was spawned off of disaffected Democrats that didn't want slavery, that weren't agreeing with the Democrats were doing. And the Republicans created a new platform under the first president that they had, Abraham Lincoln, who, if we study history, we know is the first Republican president. And we know that these two parties basically fought a civil war. They call it a battle of the North and the South. Not necessarily true, but fairly accurate at that time. Now our country is spread out further and further than it was at that point in time. We have Democrats and Republicans everywhere. Obviously, if we ever look at an electoral map, we know that the coastal states are mostly Democrat. The heartland of the United States is mostly Republican. But obviously there's opposite parties, mixed in all of that. And why this is a problem is because while these two parties, they have separate platforms they run on. Democrats run on gun reform, immigration rights, as in everybody can come to our country. They run a big government. They run out of helping everybody no matter what. And they think of themselves as forward-thinking, progressives. The opposite party calls them liberals, and, however many other words they could call them. Conservatives are supposed to be about fiscal responsibility, preserving the Constitution in the way that it was written, smaller government, and they believe that if you work for it, it should be yours. They are also not big fans of handouts to everybody. Here's where the issues come in. Other political parties take the best of Democrats and Republicans, put them together, and come up with platforms that could actually work for America. But we ignore them because they don't draw enough support. We never actually give them a platform, as in presidential debates. We never put them in mainstream so we can hear what these people have to say. We could potentially have 100 different people running for president at one point in time that all have different views and voices, but we will only hear from two of them, Democrats and Republicans, obviously. Over the years, these parties have basically failed to work together. They can't use common sense. Democrats want to give away everything. We need more taxes so we can hand out more welfare and more entitlements. Republicans say we need to crack down on entitlements. The truth of the fact on something of that sort is that we do need to crack down to some extent. There are people in legitimate need of welfare. that need our help. We've got disabled people, single parents that absolutely can't get a job for one reason or another. We put the value of their welfare far and above a minimum paying job. So if they're going to say, well, I can go work at 40 hours at McDonald's at $7.50 an hour, it doesn't make up for the welfare benefits that they would lose. So they don't go to work. In our country right now, we have a lot of jobs out there. A lot of these jobs will remain unfilled because of the welfare state. There's no benefit to some people to actually get a job when welfare takes care of them better than any job will. So in those aspects, we need to come up with things that could solve that issue. But we can't, because the two political parties can't come together and use common sense. They battle back and forth, and the conservatives are called racist and bigots and xenophobes, but they're not. And that comes from the party that started the KKK, calling the other party a racist. Makes no sense to me. Democrats have for a long time tried to defend black people and try to give them rights and say that they were disenfranchised. And every time they've had power, they've done nothing. They've done nothing to help black people at all. And that's a problem. When you tout these things you're going to do for your base, and if we know the political system, most people will tell you that black people generally vote Democrat. And I hate to say it's because of what they promised the black people. And the Democrats just never deliver. We had 8 years of a black president. Nothing in the black community got better. Racism was worse. There was more riots, less jobs. The only thing he did for them is give away free phones. Okay, and the rest of us pay for that. Well, unfortunately, a phone is not a necessity because someone around you has a phone you can use. But okay, when you're in the woods and you have an emergency, a free phone might help you. Just so many things these people can't get along on. The conservatives want to keep your guns safe and protect your constitutional right to bear arms. The Democrats are doing every snaky and slithery path they can to try to disarm America, and they claim they don't want to disarm America, but they sneak through little things, a platform of making America cash free, for instance, where everyone uses a card, and then they work with the credit card companies to try to stop them from allowing the credit card companies' customers from buying guns and ammo with their credit cards. They didn't ban the guns, they just stopped you from being able to purchase them, which therefore puts the gun industry out of business. They lose jobs, and they ruin a large economic boost to our country. Right now we are seeing a lot in our political system where we have a Republican president, a Republican House, a Republican Senate. They can't get anything done, even with the majority, because they can't get a single Democrat to help them. We all got tax breaks by a very slim margin. It helped 80% of America. Democrats didn't help a bit. I'm very upset with what they have done and the battles between the two parties. Now, I know the Republicans did the same thing to Obama, so the Republicans still have dirt in their hands just like the Democrats. This has been an ongoing issue for the life of both of these parties. As soon as they became the big political bases, they have fought each other and have not gotten along, and all that does is hurt Americans. Americans are supposed to be able to pursue life, liberty, happiness, and this includes getting jobs, includes feeling safety and security, getting homes, and rights that our Constitution gives us. And unfortunately, the two parties warring back and forth with each other stops prosperity for parts of the country. And we watch policies destroy an entire middle class. And when a person comes up with an idea to fix it, that no one can actually find a problem with, the other party denies them because it's going to hurt their chances to get votes. We see a Democratic Party right now fighting against giving amnesty to DACA recipients. And they're doing that for a specific reason, because they have no clue what they actually want to do. They want to stand up and say, we need DACA, we need to protect these children. And as soon as the president says, yeah, let's do it, they fall silent and they ignore them. And they do it in order to get votes from the immigrant population. And hopefully the immigrants are seeing exactly what the Democrats are doing to them. And again, I can't say the Republicans are any better, because a few of these people go behind closed doors to work with another party to ambush things that are going to happen or should happen. And then they wonder why nobody likes them. Together, the two parties in our House and Senate have like a 10% approval rating. I think taking a dump in the morning has a better approval rating than our Congress. It's just ridiculous how bad these people are. We could do so much better in this country, and granted, our country is pretty damn good. When you look at overall at other countries and the wars and poverty and all that that's going on across seas, death, disease, and famine are, you know, commonplace in a lot of countries. And granted, we have our problems here, but nowhere near what the other ones are. But we could be so much better. We talk about being able to help people, but we can't help other people if the people in charge can't get along. And here's a good example, and it's not necessarily something that's happened that I know of, but it's more than likely to happen. Me finding my views and believing that guns are our legal right given to us by the Constitution, I fully support the Second Amendment. If I went to a senator that's liberal or Democrat and said, hey, look, we need to protect our guns, and if anything, we need to do something that takes that guns out of the hands of bad guys, they should be listening to me. But unfortunately, because I'm not on their side of the boat, they're not going to listen to me. We get this, you know, big ploy that our government is a democracy, which in fact it is not. It is a constitutional republic, and a constitutional republic basically says that we elect officials that do the voting for us and make the laws. Whereas a democracy, we would make all the laws and do all the voting, which we know that we don't do. We vote for these people to be our voices. And my big question is why can't one party listen to the other party? Why can't the constituents that generally vote one way go speak to the other side and say, hey, we want you on board? Where is this major disconnect? I understand that opposing views help our country in some way, shape, and form. And most of us do. Because you've got to take a far right, a far left, put them together, meet in the middle, and you should come up with something good. But the unfortunate fact is even people that are 1 inch away from each side, left and right, can't move 1 inch to help each other. And we see it on and on. We see the fighting that happened in the Bush administration, the Obama administration, the Trump administration currently. They war back and forth. And it's a rally cry of people with no ideas. And the problem is because every time one side brings an idea, the other side says, you suck. They can't just sit down and discuss why they feel this plan sucks, offer something up, come to a conclusion, a consensus, and come together. We watched a bogus omnibus bill get signed a few weeks ago. Bogus because it's $1.3 trillion. We don't have that kind of money. And it's been going on for a long time like this. We have to get both of these sides to unite and do what's right. Or we put Republicans and Democrats out of power and elect people that have no party affiliation. People that are actually listening to the voices of their constituents. And I don't understand how these people can claim to be working for the people when they only work 1/3 of the year. They work like 110, 120 days a year. And they get paid to work 365. But they don't. And when's the last time you saw your politician from Washington in your hometown saying, what is it you want me to do for you? I sure haven't seen it in a very long time. I've seen my local politicians speak in the town. I've seen my state officials come to town and talk. But the people we have in the federal government don't come home, they don't listen to us, and they don't do our bidding. And this is the problem with the two-party system. Once you align yourself with Republicans or Democrats, you're stuck on a platform. And it's generally the platform of the leader of that party. You know, when your party is in power, say like right now Republicans, everyone is supposed to be listening to what President Trump says. But even Republicans don't listen. The Democrats for sure don't listen. The same thing happened in the Obama administration. Democrats listened to him though, and went along with his platform. No matter if they liked it or not, they just said, yes, we're your puppet, Obama. Pull our strings. We'll do whatever you want. It's just not right. I think as Americans, we need to decide what is best for us. And if we continue to allow this two-party system to tear us apart, it's just going to continue to destroy America. We have got to stop this. We have either got to get rid of all of them and start over, or we've got to get them to get on track and do what's right for America. Don't let this continue, because we're headed down to another civil war. And unfortunately, it's going to be a bunch of vagina hat marchers and high schoolers versus the rest of the country. And that's just not going to be good for any of us. It will truly destroy America to its core, something it won't recover from for a very long time. So, in essence, what I'm saying is, you as people that aren't politicians need to unite with someone that might have different views with you. Talk to them. Have peaceful debate. Have a good recourse with them. Drop the GOP and Dem titles. Get down to real foundational issues. And let's start from the ground up. Fix it. Get rid of these fools that keep doing this to our country. We're going to be in a very bad spot. We're going to be looking like Syria all over our country if we just can't come together and get things fixed as United States. Please don't let our two political parties destroy America. Thank you for watching. I'll be back soon with another exciting episode. I hope you listen. I hope you like. I hope you share. Get the word out. If you've got comments, I'm here. Drop me a line. I'll be glad to answer. I'll be glad to peacefully debate. I appreciate any comments you guys got for me. Thank you. Until next time.